This is the second part of my modeling chucks with plasticity trilogy. So let's get ready to surface. Okay, let's start surfacing the tongue itself. And therefore, the first thing we need to do is laying out again the basic curves. One of them is the one we used to create this tip. So it is in the basic curves folder. So if we activate it and look for the curve, yeah, it's this one. It's this arc. Bring this guy out and hide all that stuff. We don't need it for now. Okay, this is our first curve. The second curve will be a curve which runs here all the way to the top. So let's start drawing it. And we want this curve to start at the middle exactly. And therefore we can hide the pipe, this one. Let's deactivate it for now. And let's take this and this one and isolate them by pressing Shift H. Again, go to back view, press Ctrl F for the control point curve, and let's start surfacing right away. At this time, let's disable the enable snapping so that we can draw our curve without snapping it to this sheet. And of course, enable also this X-ray mode so we can see how we are doing. And we don't need that many points. I think this will do the job. Press enter, right click and change the matte cap. Sometimes this red one is too shiny. Select this control point and delete it. We don't need it. Like I said, the less control points you have, the less control you have on the one side, but on the other side, the less complicated it is. That's why you always have to look for the sweet spot when you lay out your curves. We can even go ahead and try to delete this one and see how we are doing with only one control point in the middle. But I guess that won't do the job. We need 2 control points in order to lay out our curves correctly. Okay, this will do the job. And it's also green at the correct spot. The next curve we need is a curve which, again, starts here and goes below this edge of this sheet. And if we look from this perspective, which is below here, so it hides or it covers all this empty space. Maybe we can copy this curve right away and work with this one. Let's try this one. Let's steal this edge. Shift D. Okay, now we have this one and let's rebuild it. Otherwise, we won't be able to use these control points, I guess. Yeah, it gives us such a weird thing. Take this curve and rebuild it. We will deform it anyhow. And 10 points is far too much. Let's try something like 5 and see what we get with 5 points. Yeah, let's try this one. 5 points. First of all, Alt-H for bring back all this stuff. Take these 3 curves and isolate them. Go to control point mode. Snap it to this one. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Bring back the rest. The second thing we will do is cut or trim this upper part. We don't need it. So let's take this guy. This one. Shift H. Yeah, let's trim it somewhere here. Now we can enable the snapping. That's okay, I guess. Press T for trim. Bring back the rest by pressing Alt H. And by the way, we can also go to control point mode and bring this one a little bit further up. So if you look from the back view or front view, let's make something like this. That's okay. And now we can go back to this curve, control point mode, isolate it. Let's just try to move some points, but it is not that easy without having any references. So bring back the rest and just go to object mode, just take this sheet and this curve and isolate them. And let's play around with the control points. Working with such organic shapes, we have to do a lot of guesswork. It's not like hard surface modeling. It's much more intuitive, and sometimes or oftentimes you have to redo stuff because you don't have the exact criterias. Okay, let's also check this one, the upper part. GX, let's look from the front view and see how we are doing. And that looks okay from the side. From this perspective, let's look from the top view. From the top view, I guess we can still play with these points. And they shouldn't intersect like this. Avoid such thing at all costs, because the tongue has to remain inside of this sheet. And because there is a lot of pushing and pulling, I tend to time-lapse these parts. Let's bring back the rest and start our first surfacing adventure, or no. Let's first take this curve. We just adjust it and mirror it to the other side. Press OK. And now take all the curves which we need for surfacing the tongue. These three and this one. Basically all the stuff. Sometimes it's tedious to try to select it here, so you can, if you know which curves you want to select, you can just go here to the outliner, that's what they call it in Blender, and just select it from here. So Shift H, let's look with the control point. Yeah, all these three are at the correct spot. So let's create also a a 3-point arc here at the top. So let's take our 3-point arc tool, click here at the first spot, the second, and here at the top, that's the third one. Yeah, that's what we wanted. But let's also create some 3-point arcs here along the whole surface. But in order to be able to create correct 3-point arcs, we need to have some guides. So press Shift A. Let's first create the lines which will guide us. Click here on the curve and then along the Z-axis, press OK. It's green. Select this guy and mirror it to the other side along the Y-axis. Let's look from the front view and create the third one again here along the Z-axis. That's what we wanted, because we will create the 3-point arc here along these 3 dots. And let's do the same here. Okay, and now we will create our 3-point arcs, which will be our guiding curves. So here's the first one, the second one, and the third one. Again, here's the first, the second, and the third. Here, another guiding curve, the first click, second click, and the third. That's what we have so far. We don't need the lines any longer. We can delete them and see if we are doing good. Yeah, that looks okay. So that's what we have so far, a grid. Let's go to control point mode and check all these lines which have to be, all these dots which have to be green. And let's start our surfacing. Select these three. So this one, shift select this one, and the third curve, L for loft. And now we will use these curves as guiding curves. So keep on shift select this one, then the second guiding curve. And don't be irritated if the surface suddenly disappears. Just keep on selecting, shift selecting this one, then this one, and the last one. And there you have it. And I hope that looks cool. If you bring back the rest, press Alt H and see if we are doing good. Yeah, we are doing good. So there is no intersection or anything else which bothers us. There's only one thing I would like to do. Getting rid of these corners here. And therefore I have a cool technique which I would like to share with you. So let's take, again, these three curves, shift deep, duplicate them, bring them out, and press OK. Go to the left view and isolate them, pressing shift H. And now what we want to do is creating two-dimensional curves out of them. So while these are all selected, press SX0. Now we have flattened it. What we want to do is go again to the left view. So from this perspective, we can go ahead and join these three curves, pressing J. Go to control point mode. Select these two control points and press B for filleting them. Now it makes a chamfer, I guess. Yeah, it makes a chamfer. You can see here when it goes to the negative, we are chamfering. We want to go to the positive, and here we can determine the roundness. Let's make something like this. That's completely fine. Press OK. And if we go to edge mode and Alt J, we should have, yeah, we should have separate curves. And if we bring back the rest, pressing Alt H, we can imprint these corners onto the surface. So press Shift I, select the target body, which is the tongue. Then select the curves as the imprint curves. Select this one, Shift select this one, press OK. And that's what we wanted. And if we go to face mode, we should be able to delete them pressing Shift X. And this one here also, Shift X. That's what we have now. That's what I wanted, to get rid of these corners. You can delete these curves or you can put them in your basic curves folder. I guess I will do them into the basic curves folder. If you want to see how you have surfaced it 5 years later. Okay, that was the tongue. And we will flatten this one also later on. Or we can even go ahead and make this operation now, because I guess we don't have to do anything else with the tongue. Let's see. Yeah, there isn't anything else. We won't do any cutting or anything else with the tongue. So we can do the last thing, which is the thickening operation. So press F, THI, and select the thickening sheet. And let's thicken this guy, making something like this, very tiny. Be careful with it. Press OK. And now let's go to edge mode and shift select the whole loop. And this one also. Now we are micro filleting. If we press B and D, let's see if we are able to fillet. Let's try something like 2 on 2 and see if we get any results. Now it's calculating. Yeah, we can even go further and say 5 and 5. Let's check whether it looks okay from all perspectives. I guess 5 and 5 is okay. By the way, it turned into a solid. That's a good sign. If we isolate it and hide the edges and go to another matte cap, let's see if we are doing good. Yeah. So that's why I like this CAD surfacing. Bring back the rest and also bring back the pipe. Yeah. I always like to check whether something is simply not possible in real world. So if it is looking unrealistic, and that's not the case with this one. The tongue is beneath this main sheet, and there is a cool transition to the tip, which is also divided by the pipe. So everything is looking cool. And also here, if we bring back this pipe, it covers all these divisions. So everything is looking fine now. Okay, the next step is creating the holes. So we will work on this part now. If we are happy with the main sheet. Okay, this is a little bit too dramatic. Here, this is bulging out and then it goes in. It's very exaggerated. But since we are making a cartoon shoe, that's fine. Okay, let's go to the front view and see how we can proceed now. If we go to our reference image, it has 8 holes. I don't know whether we will also make 8 holes. Maybe we can get away with 6 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6. I guess 6 is okay. Let's create those holes by creating circles which we will imprint onto the sheet. And we will do it only on one side and we can mirror it over later on. So I guess that's okay. This spot, the first one, we bring back all the edges and again go to the classic matte cap. And if we take this one and Shift I and imprint this one onto the sheet, here look, it looks okay. Go to edge mode and Shift D, bring this one here, and see if we have luck with this spot also. So let's go to object mode, select this sheet, press Shift I, and select again this curve. Press OK, and this one looks okay also. Go to edge mode, select this guy, Shift D, bring it to somewhere here. Let's create our third hole. Select this one, Shift I, imprint it. That looks also cool. Front view. And here, I guess we will have to do some adjustments on the position of the circle, because if we imprint it right away, like in the first 4 circles, we will have some skewed circles. But let's just proceed here. Select this one as the imprint curve. Here you see what I mean. Take this circle and bring it to the sheet and try to be as exact as possible by trying to position it onto the sheet. That looks okay. Yeah, this looks better, much better. And continue with the other holes. We have 5, and yes, I guess we will do one more here, and that's okay. So let's select this guy, bring this here, duplicate it, and now try to find the correct spot. This is also, again, all personal preferences. You can make your circles bigger if you want a more cartoonish style. You can play around with the amount of the circles you want to imprint and the like. I just show you the basic method. Everything else is up to your artistic preferences, of course. And if we hide all the curves, we can see what we have so far. That looks okay to me. Let's see what we would get if we go to face mode and select all these faces and delete them and create those metal things. If we select all these, shift duplicate them. Okay, of course they are invisible because our curves is deactivated. And if we press P for pipe, at 10 centimeters is okay, I guess. Let's take all these edges. And if we mirror it over, this sheet, I mean, pressing Alt X, merge halves together, mirror it along the Y-axis, press OK. And if we take all these guys and mirror them over also, pressing Alt X, let me give this guy some colors. So that's what we have so far after coloring. And I just slapped on some basic colors, and therefore I just, you can go to this matte cap, select the sheet you want to color, press M, and slap on the color you want, and that's it. That's what I did with all these parts. And therefore, for coloring this one was attached to, so let me show it to you. Isolate this one. I just want to show you that this one was attached to this one. As you remember, they were isoparam curves, which we extracted, and for creating this thick line was a part of this sole, and for being able to color it, I unjoined it by pressing Alt J. That's the whole thing. So it's nothing fancy. And if you want that your model consists only of solids, of course you can close this one. I would like to proceed with thickening this sheet, because now we have made our holes. We don't have to do anything else with this sheet. Later on we will do the stitches, these things. That's the only thing we will do with this sheet. And of course we will extract a part from this shoe, this part, this one, just to have a nice detail also. So these are all funny things which aren't that tedious. And of course we will do our star. We will just slap on a circle, which we will then extract and make our own 3D type of patch, where this circle will stick out, and we will just slap on one big star. And of course we will add these things, the same technique. So let's do this one first of all, before thickening this sheet. Till now it was all symmetrical, but now we will change this fact by creating these holes here at the inner part, but only on this side. So let's look here from the back view, bring back our edges and create two circles. One of these circles. Go to face mode, select these two faces, delete them, go to edge mode, select these guys, Shift D for extracting the curves, and press P for pipe. And let's type in something like 10, not something. Let's type in 10. That's what we have so far. Press F, type in redundant for deleting redundant topology because we don't need all these imprints. Okay, go to the right view, Shift A, and create a line, something like this. We want to create this little detail. Select the line, mirror it over, press OK, and let's take these lines, bring them out so we see what we are doing. I think the thickness is okay. Maybe we can make it a little bit more narrow. So press SX, or in this case SY. Solid mode, select this one, press Shift I, select the first imprint curve, Shift, select the second imprint curve, hide the occlusion, press OK. That's what we have. Now we can go to face mode, select these guys, and Shift D for duplicating them. Go to solid mode, hide this one for a minute, pressing H. We just want the sheet we just created, thickening the sheet just a little bit so that we have a nice detail here on the back. And let's take these two faces in face mode and bring them out just a little bit. Go to edge mode. Now we can bring back the main sheet. Press OK. Go to edge mode, select these two edges and press BD or just B for filleting them. Yeah, something like this is okay. Go to edge mode. Select this edge or loop select it by pressing Alt and selecting. Yeah. Now we can fill it to the positive. Yeah, let's make something like this. 7 to 7 centimeters. Let's go also to this side. Yeah, now we have a nice detail here at the back. We have something like this going on, which is cool. These are all decorations, of course, or nice details. They are okay, but there is something else which I would like to address, and it is that this tongue will get in our way when we start making the shoelaces. As you can see, the holes are behind the tongue. That's not what we want. We want that this tongue stays behind the holes, so we can create our shoelaces without any obstacles. Let's select the tongue in solid mode, go to front view, and let's instead of again surfacing this one, that's not what I want. That's what I want to avoid. Instead of resurfacing this whole thing, I would like to try to scale it further to the back. And we can do that by pressing S for scale and F for freestyle. So let's press freestyle. Select the center or the mid. And now drag this cursor along the x-axis. And now we should be able to scale this direction along the x-axis. That's what we want. And now you can see that the tongue gets out of our way. Here at this point, in the first 3 holes, at the height of the first 3 holes, I guess, we were able to drag the shoelace, no, not the shoelace, the tongue out of the way. I will try to rotate it this time, pressing R, and bring the pivot to somewhere here, and let's try to rotate it, make something like this. Yeah, now you can see that the tongue gets out of the way, but now we have here something going on. It's not a big deal to cut this and create a line. And let's cut this, selecting this one, the tongue, press C for cut, select this one for as the cutter, press OK, go to solid mode, select this one and delete it. That's the first thing we will do. And delete also the line. Now we have something like this. Take this sheet, our main sheet, and we wanted to thicken it anyhow. "15" is too much, because then the metal parts will be covered. This looks weird. So let's go back to 10 centimeters. That's okay. I will leave it at 10 centimeters. Okay, after experimenting and trying different methods, I found a way to get rid of this stupid hole. It's not that elegant, this method, but it does the job. So let me show it to you. So select this sheet and also all these metal parts. This is with these ones, these 6, 12, and also this one. So basically everything which is connected to the sheet. And of course also this one. So we have this whole thing selected. Let's go to front view, press S for scale, and then disable the snapping, so we can press F for freestyle. Go here, start our first reference point, then go back and enable the snapping so that you can start, so that you can click here along the x-axis, your second reference point for freestyle scaling. And now you should be able to drag along the x-axis, make something like this. Now here a weird intersection is going on, but I think that we should be able to deal with it by just simply selecting the tongue again, our problem child, SY. Just to get rid of this intersection. That's okay. So very tiny on the y-axis, so the second value is y, so 0.98 blah blah blah. Press OK. Now we got rid of this intersection, and also we got rid of the hole, and everything is looking fine. There isn't any weird stretchings. Like I said, it's not the most elegant method, but it works. Okay, let's start with some details before going over to the shoelaces. And the detailing part will be also very fun. The first thing I would like to do when it comes to details is making these stitches. I won't make double stitches, I will make single stitches because, yeah, it is a cartoon shoe, so things can be look simplified or should look simplified. So what I will do is making a line like so, this one. The second line will be this one. And the third one will be this one. So our stitches will consist of 3 guiding curves, which we will use as curve array guides. This thing I will skip also. That's a simple task, I think. We just have to draw a control point curve. Let's start with disabling the snapping thing. Press Ctrl F and start drawing right away. That's somewhere here. Now I have made 5 control points and press OK. Bring this guy out so we can see what we are doing. Take your time when it comes to fine-tuning. Yeah, I think that's okay. Second step is, you maybe guessed it, we will imprint this onto the sheet. Let's see how we are looking. This can be further back. Let's escape and first check the reference. Or this can be further to the tip. So let's take this guy, bring it to here. Again, imprint. And if we go now to edge mode and select this imprinted curve and press Shift D for duplicating it, making it its own curve, we can use this as a curve array curve. And now we will make one single stitch, prototype stitch. So let's take the cylinder, go to face mode, select these 2 faces and delete them pressing Shift X. Patch it again, pressing Shift J, but not with G0, but with G1 continuity, so we have this rounding going on. So this will be our stitch. Of course, not that big. Make your little adjustments and take your time. What's important is placing it on the correct spot. So use your basic tools, scale, move, rotate. Can go inside, as you can see. So it shouldn't stick out, should be embedded into the surface. And check from all perspectives if that's okay. First one is the most important one because we will array this and every array will be according to this guy. Now that we have placed this guy correctly, we can select it and search for curve array, pressing F, curve array, yeah. And now Plasticity asks us to select the path, which will be this one. And you can see that it arrays right away. And of course, I want more stitches. So I will increase this number. Let's try something like 40 and see how we do. That's too much. Let's try 30. 30 is better. Maybe 25. 25 is even better. Let's go back to 30. Yeah, I guess 30 is okay. 30 will do the job. I say okay. And here you can see cylinder point 001 till 30. That's our group of stitches. And we can mirror these guys right away. Okay, let's make our second array, which will start from here and will go all the way to here. And this might be trickier because now we have these things getting in our way, these metal pieces. But nevertheless, let's try our best. So press Ctrl F and start drawing. Disable the snapping thing and enable the X-ray. This time we should be more precise, so it can be more control points. Bring it out. Go to control point mode and start adjusting. Again, I will leave you alone with your fine tuning. With that fine-tuned curve, let's start our imprinting. Here will be an intersection. Escape. And try to bring this part further up. Select these two. I mean, maybe you have done it correctly and you don't need these tiny adjustments. Let's try this one. It is a little bit tricky, but let's see how we will do. So select the first stitch again. Go to front view, duplicate it. I guess we are ready to array. Edge mode, select the curve we want to array along. Duplicate it. Select the first stitch. Press F and search for curve array. Select the guiding curve. Let's again try something like 30 and see how we are doing. Here we have to do some manual adjustments, but everything else looks okay. This one we can delete maybe. Press OK. So let's do our tiny adjustments. I guess that's okay. Now again, take this one and see which one it was. 31, I guess we have to select until, yeah, 60 for mirroring it. Now we have our second row of stitches. Now let's make the third row, which will be the final one. And we can also put some of them here, because if we look here, it goes over this part without any disruptions. So select this part, Shift D, bring it out, and yeah, do your adjustments as always. Okay, the stitchings are ready. Like I said, I will leave them as single rows. Last thing I would do just for housekeeping purposes is grouping all these stitches. You cannot join them like in Blender, so they remain as separate objects. That's why you should do them in a separate folder. Name it stitches. It looks like an unnecessary step, but it will make your life easier because we have already a very cluttered scene here. So take the time to name your folders and group them and all that good stuff for avoiding any drama. Also do all these metal parts into their different folder. So now you can see what we are dealing with, how many sheets we have, how many solids. The sheets are the ones I talked about while I was coloring. I divided them. Off the record, I did something else. I would like to show it to you. Here you can see that I have two tongues. And what I did is, let me hide this one. Activate it. I just went to face mode. Select this face, duplicate it, and thickened it. So basically the same thing I did here with the other large surfaces. And I did this for being able to give this one another color. Now we can see what we are dealing with. What's this one? It's this back part. How can I call it? I call it strip. And yeah, let's create a circle. Let's create it somewhere here. Enable snapping. Bring it to the right. This one can be smaller. Okay, let's create the star, which will be also fun. So select this regular polygon tool. And while you are dragging out, if you are using a mouse, you can press Shift and use the control wheel for adding control points. So at this moment, it consists of 5 points. But if you scroll up, you can add points. I don't have a mouse, I have a Wacom. And for all the Wacom guys, just press the up arrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you have a shape which consists of 10 control points, which is exactly what we want. Press OK. Go to control point and select every other point. And press SS for scaling them. And guys, I had to look it up also. I didn't know how to make such a star. And if you're stuck with any kind of problems, just look it up at YouTube and you will find a lot of great channels containing awesome videos. I took this one from Pixel Fondue. So you don't have to reinvent stuff all the time if other great creators have already invented it for you. Okay, now I would like to make it slightly rounded, these corners. So press B. Yeah, this looks okay. Let's try the same thing with the inner control points. Okay, our star is ready. Align it to the circle. And here I'm creating a second circle. And I will make this one slightly smaller than the outer one. Again, let's take this guy and make it smaller and adjust the star to the inner circle. Okay, the parts for our logo are ready. I won't do all the stuff. I won't write all the names and stuff because like I always say, I want to keep things simple. First of all, let's imprint this stuff onto our main body. Now let's select the sheet, duplicate it, and isolate it, pressing Shift-H. Okay, let's thicken it. Thicken sheet. And we can also fillet it right away. Bring back the rest, pressing Alt-H. Let's try to imprint this one onto the label. Shift-I and see how we are doing. It doesn't look that good. I will escape, take this guy, delete it, go to face mode, and offset it. That's too much. Let's try 7 centimeters. Yeah, 7 is okay. Go to edge mode, select this whole edge, Shift D, press OK, press P for pipe. Section size 10. 10 is too much. Let's try something like 5. Yeah, 5 looks cool. I will leave it at 5. Press OK. Let's see what we have done so far. Give this guy also a grayish color. That's what I wanted. Last step is, of course, our beautiful star. But we have to make little adjustments. Okay, let's imprint the star onto the label also. And again, let's go to face mode, select this one, Shift D. Okay, isolate it, pressing Shift H, and thicken it. And the last step for our label is Shift or Alt edge select the whole edge, so the edge loop, B, D. First 30 centimeters is far too much. Let's try something like 5 centimeters and see how we are doing. Plasticity is calculating. Failed. Let's try 1 centimeter. It does the job, but it's too small. Let's try 3 centimeters. Yeah, 3 looks cool. Let's also try 4. Maybe we can get away with 4 centimeters. Yeah, I will leave it at 4. Bring back the rest. Can even take this guy, the star, and bring it further in. Take this guy and give it the same material. Let's rename them. I took the lines of the tip, these lines here, and put them in a separate folder. So it's up to your personal preference, of course. If you want them to show up, you can use them. I just wanted to see off the record how it looks without the lines, and it looks okay. There aren't any weird intersections. I like this transition, this flawless transition. Here is something going on, but that's okay. And I don't have to do any filleting or any dramatic stuff. So it can also remain without the lines. One more thing, just to add some detail. Maybe I will slap on a logo. I found a logo and the resolution was okay. I converted it into vector. Here I see that misalignment. Let me center it. Yeah, okay. And what I do, saving it as an SVG, and go to devcock, blah, blah, SVG to step, and load in the SVG you have just created. And now you can download it because it was converted into step. And if you download something from this website, the converted step version, it will always give you something like this. So you have to rename it. And now if you go to import, you can import your step file. Plasticity gives you some options. Just press OK. And here it is. I renamed my step file, which I have downloaded from the website, as Allstar, and now Plasticity creates automatically a folder called allstar.step, or whatever you call your step file. We'll bring this guy out and see what we have here. If everything is cool and no drama, RX90, press OK. RZ90. Okay, let's look from the right view. How does it look when I delete the brand name and just keep the Allstar? I guess this looks better. Like I said, I always say I don't want to have that many details. Okay, this is what I will imprint onto this surface. Maybe we have to imprint it one by one, which is also okay. Let's take first these guys and join them. These guys, 4 edges plus the rounded corners. Join them. I will go to face mode, select these two faces, Shift D, duplicate them, bring them out, and thicken it. So press F, TH, sheet. Let's thicken these guys. Let's go to these shapes or faces. Here again, there is a problem. This one is okay. So let's extrude them. And let's make a thick extrusion, something like this, something that we can work with. And press OK. Now all these curves are getting in our way. Now we are good. And the A, which gave us trouble, we can simply duplicate this one. So let's go to solid mode, select this guy, Shift D. I think that we didn't need to thicken this guy. So let's delete this one. Again, take these two faces, Shift D. Again, duplicate them. And let's simply loft them, pressing L with G0 continuity. We don't need G1 because we will use this one as a cutter. Make it a little bit thinner by dragging these faces along the x-axis. We don't want them to be that thick. And now let's try a different Boolean style. So let's take this guy, bring it to here so it intersects with the logo. Yeah, something like this is okay. And now let's simply select the logo and this one. And let's see when we press Q and do intersect. That's the part we want. But if we press OK right away, we have the part we want, but we lose the cutter. But we don't want to lose the cutter because we want to apply the same operation on all these other parts either. So therefore, let's press Ctrl Z, undo it. And again, select this one and the cutter, press Q, press intersect, and this time press keep tools because we want to keep the cutter. Press OK. And let's see what we have now. Yeah, we have this part, we wanted this part, and we have also kept the cutter. Now we can keep on doing the same operation for these guys. Q, intersect, keep tools, okay. Again, Q, intersect, keep tools, okay. Q, intersect, keep tools. And here we don't need to keep the tool any longer because we are done. So we can press Q, intersect, and OK. That's what we wanted. Again, all these parts, there are too many of them. So let's take all these guys, press Ctrl G, and let's type in Allstar. And if we take all these guys and bring them to somewhere about here, I don't want to torture myself by filleting them. Now everything is clean. Let's go to Material Preview. If you want them to look more printed, then you can, of course, go ahead and push them further into the label. I don't want the Z fighting thing going on. So not something like this I want to avoid. So I will still keep them a little bit out. Okay, the last thing I would like to do when it comes to detailing is giving this guy also a bunch of stitches like here. You may have noticed that I do the imprinting in different orders. Sometimes I first go to solid mode, select the solid I want to make the imprint onto, press Shift I, and then I select the curve I want to imprint. Or sometimes I make also when let's say I'm in edge mode, without going first to the solid mode, I first press the command itself, pressing Shift I, then I select the solid or the sheet, whatever it is, and then I select the cutter, press hide occlusion, press OK. So you can do both ways. I mean, by now you are already pros and you know this. Let's go to edge mode, select this one and Shift D. Now let's select one of these stitches. And we are still in the stitch folder, so if we deactivate it, we are also deactivating the newly created ones. So everything is cool. Material Preview, Madcap, or whatever it is called. You can see that we have a cool looking detail also on the back of our chucks. One thing I would like to do is we gave the tongue this inside thing, and I would like to do the same for the main body. So therefore, let's first go to Standard Madcap, bring back the edges so we see what we are doing. Take this and first of all press F and also delete redundant topology. Okay, and now we can go to face mode and select all these faces which are relevant. Let's press Shift D. Now you see the Z fighting is going on, which is exactly what we want for now. Press OK. And now press F, thicken, and hope for the best. Let's see if we can thicken this one without having any problems. Of course, 13 is far too much. Let's do something like 1. Let's see if this works. Okay. And go to this material thing. That looks okay, but here is some weird stuff going on. Maybe we have to do it a tiny bit thicker. Let's zoom in and press Ctrl Z, F. And now let's drag this guy again. And let's leave it at 2 centimeters for now. And let's let him calculate. 2 centimeters or 2.8, it's far too much. Let's try something like 1.5 on 1.5. You can see that everything is looking cool. And yeah, we are done with the details. Like I said, the tip lines, showing them or hiding them is up to your personal preferences. There are two main things we need to address. The first one is the shoelaces. The second one is, of course, this pattern. Here, this pattern